It's day 21 and this is the Crackley Gap, one of the narrowest green belts in the country, separating Coventry over there, the trees in the distance, with Kenilworth over there. And here the whole thing gets dug up. You can see all this newt fencing around here is new. HS2 are gearing up to put in the start of the Hall Road, which if you remember from my fails to measure up video, is going through the ancient woodlands. You can just see over there in the distance Crackley Wood. Now the reason that this whole greenbelt gets dug up is that HS2 changed their plans, not realising that they were going through the Canley Brook, which is in that tree line there, at water level. Yes, honestly, they hadn't noticed. And while the idea of a 225-mile-an-hour train going through a ford may sound spectacular, not really practical. Took them about a year to admit this, and what they did is, obviously, instead of doing something sensible like joining it up with the Burton Green Tunnel, well, not that that's a proper tunnel, but anyway, they said no, Brook's in the way, Brook's got to move. As a result, this entire greenbelt on this side of the road gets dug up, as the Brook is going to do a massive loop round there and connect up with the bridge over there. Obviously, this is where HS2 are going to start their work very soon. There's a meeting planned just for next week to discuss the ongoing Tree-mageddon, which is almost going to certainly start with taking all of that down. And yes, this is ongoing, and as I mentioned in the other video, they still plan to do this in September, October without notice to proceed. Now there's supposedly a yes-no review of the project going on, and they're still doing it. This is work ongoing at a construction compound. Well, it's actually creating the construction compound between Kenilworth and Stoneleigh, adjacent to the A46. There was already a smaller compound here earlier in the year when they chopped I'd say some of the roadside trees down, because they've got more roadside trees that they'd love to chop down in the future. This is the Cubbington Pear Tree, which we believe is the oldest pear tree in the country, and it was the winner of the 2015 Tree of the Year award. And better than that, it's the first time I've been up here and there's actually been a pear on it. And the locals must prize it. I've got to eat one. I finally got to eat a pear from the Cubbington Pear Tree. As you can see, HS2 Limited have just taken down the hedge next to it, and behind me, it's just outside South Cubbington Wood, but there we are. This is South Cubbington Wood, yet another ancient woodland that HS2 is going to plough through. And I'd love to say more about it up here, but it's very windy, and I'm sure that's not doing a great deal for the sound. But yeah, this is yet another place where HS2 Limited are going to go through an ancient woodland. You can see here, they're just starting to put in the access track, they're dropping the aggregate. Obviously, they'll flatten that out in the coming days, because this is where HS2 is going. Sorry. This is where HS2 is going, after, of course, it goes through the country's champion pear tree, apparently. That's what you call it if it's the oldest tree for some reason. It's a champion, because it's lived the longest, yay! Which is what, I suppose, what it's all about, not dying. Yeah. Mind you, if it was all about not dying, we wouldn't be cutting down all these ancient woodlands for a bloody train now, would we? What's in there, Eevee? Well, it's the end of day 21. I've made it to Southam. I'm slightly annoyed with myself because obviously I started the day at home, so I started messing about and I left way too late and it was dark by the time I got here. And the reason I'm annoyed about that is I wanted to get footage or photos of the roadside trees that HS2 Limited have already taken down. The trees that they took down during nesting season, I think actually the fact they got so much hassle, rightly so, for illegal removal of habitats during nesting season, is why wherever you look up and down the country now, on phase 1, it's all happening September, October. Everything is coming down in September, October, because they want to make sure that they don't hit nesting season again. But as I say, it's all well and good to show, pristine ancient woodlands and habitats and hedgerows and all that sort of stuff. But what there is in the road into Southam is stumps. Stumps and stumps and stumps, half a mile of stumps, roadside stumps, because that's what goes first. And I couldn't do the ones at the A46 because it's basically a motorway and a construction compound, and couldn't get in. I'm not going to walk down the side of the A46. That's not happening. Not with the dog. I want us both to live. But it's all well and good to show, these pristine habitats as they are now, but what needs to be shown is what they're going to be turned into, which is stumps, very soon, very quickly, if something isn't done, because those are the first to go. The roadside stuff, the stuff that is in the way in terms of access, and once they've got access, they can chop down the stuff that's less accessible, that you can't see. The ancient woodlands, the habitats, the hedgerows and the fields, everything else is going in September, October. Like 140 miles worth of ecocide and Treemageddon is due to start in a couple of weeks. And this is for a project that is dubious at best. It's been lobbied for by the people who want to build it. It's under review. It's not got notice to proceed, but still, they're going to chop the trees down. They're going to destroy the habitats. They're going to do all this work because they want to cause as much damage as possible, because there is a serious question about whether the project will be cancelled or not. So the more damage that they cause, the more land that they possess, the more money they become liable to spend, the more legal mess they can make in terms of tying things up and making it more difficult to revoke, the more they'll do that. The more they can to make it difficult or somehow daft to cancel HS2, the more work HS2 Limited will do, because they know that there's a serious chance that this project's going to get cancelled. So they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they don't get their gravy train derailed. And if this review is genuine, a genuine yes or no review, which we keep being told it is, then you stop work. You don't make irreversible damage. You stop. And if it isn't stopped by government soon, then some people are going to have to step up to the plate. And there's a few, especially say in the Colne Valley right now, but there needs to be more. There needs to be 100 miles worth of them, because this is going to be, the biggest attack on the environment in this country this year by a very, very long way. And the environmental NGOs are sleeping. So it's going to be up to people to do something about it, or government to see sense and stop the work now. Not in a week, not after review, now, before it's too late.